What's going on, everyone? As the time of filming this video, 9 subscribers away from 1,000. This is a long process, man. I've been doing this for about a year and a half, so it has been a long process. But I hope to get there by the next couple of days. We'll see what happens. Today, we're going to be doing some more Discord photos that were sent in, and we're going to get right to those. So let's do it. All right, guys, so let's get to our first picture. Right here, you got a dairy pallet that looks, I swear this looks like mine. Right here in the middle, I'm pointing to these cases right here. To me, those are the problem cases. Cottage cheeses, things of that nature. These tubs just stink. They don't sit in the packaging level. That one lid gets caught up on the other lid, and they just don't form a level playing field for you. But see how all of his yogurts are pointing into the middle and you got that column up the middle? This is very similar to how I build. Tie in when you possibly can, usually at the top of the pallet. Towards the top of the pallet, you're tying in, but you're keeping the bigger cases on the outside, skinnier, narrow cases on the inside. And like I said, my pallet looks very similar to what this one looks like. It is a very well built pallet. Let's look at the other side of this. All right, guys, on this side of the pallet, I'm just showing you that all the white slashes are where he kept it level. The yellow area down in the corner is just letting you know that you have bigger cases, and that's fine. You have a high corner, and you're getting bigger cases. You stick them on the corner because you want nice strong corners. And when possible, all the white slashes are level playing fields. Now they're level, but they're not tied in every single layer. And that's the difference. That's why this pallet stays square and it's not a big wave, because of him just keeping things as level as possible without tying in. You tie in when you possibly can. This is almost to the point of little columns stacking in all these throughout this pallet that I'm going to show you on the next slide. So as you can see right here with the black lines, guys, they're all individual columns. And then he tied it in with the one layer of sour cream or whatever that is going across the middle there. And then he started column stacking again. But it's a little off-centered from where the bottom columns were, okay? So it's not a straight column going up the pallet. It's columns, a layer, and then he offset his columns on the top of that layer. That is how you distribute the weight around without dropping your pallet. Wrap when needed. But guys, this is where you get most of your time built up, is by building like this. When you get smaller case orders, you have to build like this for efficiency, just to get the times, the time that they want you to get it done in, and you're still building a good solid pallet. And like I said, guys, it takes 2 seconds to just go around your pallet one time and wrap and tuck that wrap in the side like I showed you before, if needed. But I build very similar dairy pallets to this person. They build very good pallets. So I'm glad that he sent these, and another dairy pallet to look at to show you that that this person and myself build very similar dairy pallets. All right, now let's take a look at the next person that sent pictures in. All right, guys, so in this slide here, this person said they were a newer selector, and honestly, they built a good pallet. For being a new selector, it's not bad. All my yellow slashes, I'm just showing all the like boxes that I would have tried to keep together. Like boxes, and the thicker like boxes, like I said before in my last video, is that you're going to have level playing field. You're going to be able to keep that pallet as level as possible moving on up. On top of that Excel box, although I don't throw a freezer, we do get cross docks, and so I have seen these cases before, and we have had to restack quite a few of these cases because they fall over a lot by the time they get to our warehouse to get transferred to another truck. But I would have put those square boxes, I would have put 4 of them right on top of that Excel. If that Safina or whatever box was already there, I would have moved it. I would have moved it and put the 4 on there. And also, honestly, that Safina I probably would have moved to the other side, over on the far corner. But, all in all, it's not a bad pallet, but you want to have your bigger cases on the outside of the pallet. The big slash marks, I'm going to get to them right now. So those big slash marks, it's these 2 cases right here. He got the one sticking straight up, and he got the other one in the middle. I highly suggest anytime you have a long box to not stick it in the middle of the pallet this way. Because, how do I want to say this? You're just forcing yourself to put small boxes on the outside because you're only leaving a little gap on the outside. I would most definitely do this, and that is take those boxes and move them to the outside. So the bottom one of the black boxes there is the one that I was just talking about, and the other one is the one that's upright. I would have brought it down and put it on top of it, and then you got another big case, that green box, I would have moved that to the outside of the corner. Keep those bigger flat boxes on the outside corners, and then put your smaller cases on the inside. Because like I said, you're going to get smaller boxes on the outside of that pallet the whole way up, and that's going to leave an unsturdy corner. Yeah, I see people do this at my warehouse too, and it's a lot of newer selectors. My opinion, big long boxes should be on the corner all the time, unless you have enough to make a whole entire layer out of them. But I would never stick a long box in the middle pointing like this, and where I'm just left with little cases on the outside. So I hope that makes sense. So let's move on to the next slide. All right, and honestly, you look at the opposite side of the pallet, and great job. You did what I just got done explaining, so you know what you're doing. It's just that you did it on one side of the pallet and you didn't do it on the other side. So all what I could say is look at this side of the pallet and look what you did. Nice big boxes on the corner. And then if you have a small case, you stick it in the middle. So just the back of your pallet looks like mayhem, but the front of your pallet looks good. So honestly, you're there, bud. You're going to be fine. But for newer selectors, that's why I sat there. I knew this side looked like this, obviously, but I wanted to explain myself on the back end of that pallet. But yeah, you did it here. So great job on the front of this pallet. The back of your pallet, I would have done the same thing. That's all. All right, guys. So that's it for today. Trying to keep these videos quick, not trying to bore you guys. But I thank you guys for sending in your pallets at Discord. If you're not a member of Discord, in the description below, there will be a link to click on over, and you guys can come over and send me your pictures, and I will do possibly do a video on your pictures. So guys, I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.